Namaste, everybody. It's been a rough few days. But it's settling. God, these flares can knock the shit out of you, and they do knock the shit out of you. But then you get back up. If you want to. You can either let it get you down, you can either let it beat you, let it put you under, or you can decide that you are not going to let this beat you, and that you, the true you, though the human self might be displaying suffering, the true I of the I am cannot suffer in any way and never ever has suffered in any way. And the true I am the one who has been observing the human small self suffering with these flares. That is what you've got to keep in here and here. When you're dealing with something like this, if you let the small self, the ego self, take over and say, poor me, I'm the victim, look at me suffering, you're going to go downhill like this, and you're going to keep corkscrewing down. Now, what do you do when, so how do I pick myself back up? I become the observer self. Self with a capital S. Even as the human body, the ego, is going through that pain, 10 on the Richter scale, 50 out of 50 on the pain scale. That isn't me. Not the true me. The true me, the true I, is the one observing the human self going through that. Now, I've got to be careful because because I've been through the incredibly terrible experiences in all the hospitals and the doctor's surgeries and the consultants' visits, because I've been through so much trauma in my life, the small I, I'm talking about the small self, the ego self, the human self, because the small self has been going through 11, 12, 13 years of neglect and humiliation and denial and absolute ignorance and arrogance of small-minded doctors who have no idea what they're talking about and don't know what CRPS or FND is. Because I'm trying to spread awareness, I'm trying to stop any other human beings from going through what I've been through over the last 13 years with hospital visits and doctor's appointments. And the idea was that by spreading awareness, by showing on this channel the sheer extent of the suffering that the human being, the human self, goes through, then hopefully my hope was that, and my prayer was that by raising awareness, it will prevent anybody else from going through this. Now, my higher self has pulled me up on this and told me and showed me, I'm affirming, by posting these videos, I'm affirming that that is who I am. But that is not what I'm doing. That is not my intention. My intention is to show what a human being goes through with chronic, complex regional pain syndrome, disease, and functional neurological disorder. And to spread awareness so that no other human beings go through what I've been through, the abuse and the neglect and the denial and the ignorance, the hostility that's been displayed towards me, my human self. But is that who you are? Is that person, is that human being who you are? No. Only if you focus on that, only if you attach to that emotionally and mentally in your heart and in your mind. If you attach to that and you say, that is who I am, poor me, look at me, the victim, then that is, well, things go downhill very, very fast. So by me posting these videos, I repeat, I am not declaring that that is who I am. I am not a victim. I am not even, the true I is not the one who's even suffering. The true I never suffers. The true I is the observer self. The I of the I am. Even whilst even whilst the human body is suffering like that. To a great extent, I'm learning better and better to detach, to emotionally and mentally detach myself, my true self, with a capital S, from that suffering. So even though the human body and the human mind goes through a terrible, terrible time when those flares come on like that, for however many days, or sometimes weeks or months, you know, you do get little breaks in between. Like, I'm having a break now. I'm sending you this video. I've been recovering all day today, all day yesterday. And then I get on with it. The capital I of the I am gets on with it and continues with these teachings. So I just want to make that point clear. The true I of the observer self is the one who observes the human self going through that. And yes, you can disassociate from that. You can disattach, disassociate. You can separate your true self from that suffering. You can learn to do that, yes. And I'm going to be teaching more and more how to do that, to try and help as many people as I possibly can over the course of the next few weeks and months. And it's all to do with becoming the observer self. Try out the tutorials. You know, I've begun some tutorials on the playlist, my tutorials and teachings. This will be on there, and there's a few videos up now. Try doing it first before you do it with anything like chronic pain, or whether that be emotional or physical. Do it first. Have practice runs with just minuscule menial things. Okay, like you've had a bit of a bad day, your boss is having a go at you, or your friend's been a bit weird with you, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend's been a bit funny with you. Try in those situations first. Build up to it. Okay, first of all, just try being the observer self in meditation. Just try closing your eyes and observe the thoughts going past your mind. Observe them as leaves floating down the stream of thought forms. Just the stream of thoughts just floating by, and be the observer, become the observer self. And then you can build up to it. It's taken me 14 years to get to this point where I can become the observer self. Predominantly, I'm not going to say all the time because that would be lying. Predominantly when I get these horrific flares, when the human self gets these horrific flares. Don't forget, you are not human. You are spirit. You are a piece of God, the source, a piece of the divine, incarnate. God incarnates. The Word became flesh. You can get through more than you can possibly imagine by truly not just knowing this, but embodying this and practicing this, actualizing it within your life. I promise you, you can get through more than you can possibly imagine in your human self. I send you all love and light and blessings. Namaste.